what is a good, in your eyes, what would be a good amount that a designer goes to the job site? And because I know that on, for example, if you have a really good team, I've seen a couple examples. One of them
Yeah,
is I've worked with designers that have phenomenal teams and they really don't have to go. They know the
right,
intervals to go and they're almost not there. And I've had
right,
clients get upset where they're like, I paid you X and you weren't there. And then I've had
right.
other designers and they're there every day, but it's because they're struggling to manage the team. So
Oh, I
what is your
know.
take on how often a designer should be there, or does it matter or does it not? What do you think?
Oh, it absolutely matters. I think again, we have to go back to what's the scope of work? Is it a kitchen remodel, bathroom remodel, whole house remodel? But you want to be there at key points like rough electrical, rough plumbing. I cannot tell you how many times we do those CAD drawings and we get it down to the quarter inch, but the guys aren't following it. And all of a sudden my shower head is at 8 feet AFF above finished
Yeah.
floor. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute here. or,
Yeah.
so you really need to, before they close up the walls on an interior remodel, you want to go during rough plumbing right before inspection. Make sure the roughs are where you want it. You want to go during rough electrical. You want to do one more time before they close the walls, because once you close the walls with drywall, it gets a lot more expensive if you want to move something. The other times that are really important to be there are during finish, and finish is during tile installation, during hard surface installation, countertops, fireplaces. You want to be there absolutely during painting, because I can't tell you how many times clients are like, whoa, I don't know about this color. But then you're like, trust me, it's going to look beautiful. Just trust me. And they're like, okay, 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 Gail. And then a week later, they're like, oh my God, I love it. Oh, it looks great. So, those key points in the finish work, you definitely want to be there, and lighting installation. So again, like you said, you're investing in designer. You want them on board, regardless of how tight their drawings are. They need to be showing up and making sure everything gets done right.
Yeah, it's I think that that's a piece that in my eyes sometimes gets a little bit underrated for client from your perspective, right? From the client viewing
Yeah.
hiring the design professional is
Yeah.
how much of that, because the emotional stress of I don't like this and having to communicate with a contractor that just wants to go, 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 go,
Yes. Yeah.
versus you being able to take the time to explain to the client. I mean, we do that in my company.
Yeah.
But we're a rare subcontractor. I mean, we're not, most subcontractors are not, they don't do what we do. But I think that's such an underrated, when I heard you say it, the light bulb went off and I'm like, wow, there's so many times that the emotional stress of I'm in making this investment and it doesn't look good and I have to go to work in an hour and they're going to paint the whole
Yes.
house. Like
Yes.
having a designer there to be able to send a photo and be like, hey, can you stop by, make sure everything looks good?
Exactly.
That's such an underrated element of this.
Yeah, that's a good point that you brought up, because we're really there to be the spokesperson for the client. That's our job. It's quality control, be a spokesperson for the client, make sure that the subs and the general are following our design direction and it's being done right. And there's going to be problems. There's always problems in construction. No matter how well we plan,
Yeah.
something's got to come up. Something's going to come up. And that's part of the fun, is you've got to be able to think on your feet quickly and pivot, talk to your client, get approval, readjust, and keep the job moving forward. So that is one of the reasons contractors, they don't want designers on the job, because they think we're going to slow down the job. They want to get in, get out, get on to the next job.
You're not
I
wrong. I
know
mean,
the
you're
deal.
not wrong. That's a general stigma for sure.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
like I've
Yeah.
seen it. I was just on a project and
Yeah.
the stucco crew was like, oh gosh, the designer's here. Like,
They're
let's
like,
go on lunch. Let's go on lunch. Like, and I heard of they're like, oh, they're gonna be asking all kinds of
right,
questions. And
right.
but it's for the client's benefit, and that's what
It
I'm all
is
about.
absolutely. And, frankly, it's not inexpensive to hire a designer, it's an investment. So we need to be in, or excuse me, at the job site and making it work for our client and giving them that vision that they want. So,
And I think one thing to touch on too, because
yeah.
I think it's also an underrated point is and I see this again, my world's exterior, but the same principles apply, is the amount of money you save by not duplicating work with the subs.
Yes.
Because when you have the designer there, you're really clarifying the scope to a granularity where I was on a project where the client insisted on not hiring a landscape designer. And I was like, you have too many elements here. There's no way this is all going to coordinate. So we were pouring concrete and doing these things. And then the client's like, oh, actually, I want to put irrigation there. I'm like, well, we already poured the concrete. There's no line. We have to cut, we have to trench, like we have to bring the irrigation person back in. It caused all these duplicated costs. And so I think another point that I'm now remembering again is that you can avoid those duplicated efforts.
Yes, and you're going to save time and you're going to save money because we do a lot up front. We spend 6 to 8 weeks in the planning process with the client, talking about all the little details and doing the drawings to support it. So if you haven't gone through that process and then you start remodeling, like you said, perhaps your backyard, and then you're changing things, it's going to cost a lot more money, particularly if you've laid hardscape or closed up walls with, drywall, and you're going to delay the job. And your subs are going to get frustrated because they have other jobs that they are working on simultaneously, typically, and it's going to cause them to have to stay on your job longer, and everybody's going to start getting behind. So doing that advanced planning, that due diligence on, let's drill down on what the homeowner's vision is and what they really want and talk about it all now. Get it on paper, get samples of the materials, get it approved, and then have everything delivered at the house ready to go. And that's a really important one, particularly now with all the lead time issues that we're facing. Have your products and materials in your garage ready to go or close nearby the job site, and then your job is going to go a lot faster. And you probably run into this too.
More often than I'd like to admit.
I know.
It's tough.